government brain steady day for holiday. And my people cost of living getting tougher every day. And the streets and the road getting rougher every day. But the bellies of these beasts getting buffer every day. When we all are every day.
Hello, yeah, see the type of thing where we the feel, we they make me they want to do. Hello, yeah, even if I want to the chill, I go still go they want to the hello, yeah. Stand look around you and I bet you go want to the hello, yeah. Hello, yeah, for the thing where you see, I bet you hello, yeah.
Hello every day. Hello every day. Hello every day.
Hello, yeah, even if I want to the chill, I go still go they want to the hello, yeah. Hello, yeah, for the thing where you see, I bet you hello, yeah.
For instance, say them give this power to the young hands. Young hands we correct, no be wrong hands. Wrong hands we go carry money, go jant. Prayer and insurance. Give pastor money for deliverance. Some swallow money talk say na sick dance. Some swallow money talk say na snake dance. And when we fire politicians, them go say make we remain as musicians. They prefer make we they sing of a new dance. And if we yarn them go tag us a nuisance. Oh would they give us a lap dance? And all my people just a leave on their last chance. Man they on a constant. But like the right, sometimes I just weep and cry, thinking of the reason why. Poor man fear to close him eye, cause poor man fear go sleep and die. Holla every day. Economy is me place, taking ladder every day. And we pray yesterday, like we pray harder every day. When I look outside my window, getting better every day. Government taking piss like a bladder every day. A real life hunger games for survival every day. Why the thief and the thief, they full of shout, ole, ole. For instance, say them put more security officials when they want rig votes for elections than when they want fight with the militants. Holla every day, holla every day, holla every day, yeah, yeah.
Hello, yeah, even if I want to the chill, I go still go they want to the hello, yeah. Hello, yeah, for the thing where you see, I bet you hello, yeah.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Six minutes past 7 right here on High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning to you wherever you are listening to me from at the moment. It is a fine Monday morning. A little bit of, a little bit of drizzling here and there, but not really wet. But a very, very good Monday morning so far. I do hope it's been a good one so far for you, wherever you are. I know it's bright and early. Some of you might still be in your bed. Some of you must be in your homes. Most of you, I'm sure, in Lagos are already on the road going to work today, and I hope it's moving smoothly for you so far. Over the weekend, a special report, some sort of investigative journalism came out from the Foundation of Investigative Journalism. That is what they do. And there was this disturbing report which they came out with. Allegedly, I need to be very specific with that because it's not confirmed. It's an investigative report where the journalists thought to bring out the story, and there were witnesses. These were people who said, "Okay, we want to come say our story," but they had to, hide their identity for safety. And what's the story? The story led with the headline saying, "Defense Ministry sacked temporary teachers. It's used for 17 years. No pension, no gratuity." 17 years.
On what basis?
Too many questions, man. Too many that if we keep asking, you keep wondering. Okay. First, the first question I will have to ask, and I say again, allegedly. Because the persons in this article, so many of them, names that were used for many of them were, not their real names, as they didn't want to reveal their identities so as to avoid
privacy,
to avoid being lynched on or being attacked and all of that. And when I saw this, first and foremost, in as much as the question where you asked, you said, on what basis? That was not even the first question I asked. The first question I asked, temporary teachers for 17 years, you were temporary? You were not made permanent for 17 years?
I mean, if they could be using them, if I'm going to use that term, for that long, I mean, they probably consider them permanent. If they are calling them temporary, they could probably consider really them permanent in their mind, maybe not on paper.
It's really, really crazy, and it gets to, if this is true, which we are not sure it's true, it says so many things about how the workspace is, because this person claimed she had the employment in 1999, okay, in 1999, and they were given sack letters in the year 2016. Do you get me? And so you try to imagine what was going on. Was there a contract? Have they been working that long? Will something be done about it? Is this just going to be an investigative report that comes out and just goes out with the wind? Will there be more investigations by the Nigerian defense? Will there be more investigation by the federal government? Will the Senate look into what's happening? Because, hey, temporary for 17 years, allegedly, that is huge, huge numbers.
So why are they not letting them go now? Well, 17 years.
17 good years. So
without just to go, nothing
no
else,
pension,
nothing,
no gratuity, according to the alleged investigation made by the Foundation of Investigative Journalism. Once again, I say good morning to you, and this is why I welcome you to the newspaper review. My name is Uche Okori, and of course you've heard her voice, yes?
Yep, Toluwashe Akumi right here. Good morning again, citizens. If this is the first time hearing my voice, you are welcome to the newspaper segment where we get to give you major headlines that happened during the week. So we are right here live also on YouTube at High Impact 1021 FM. And during the course of our discussion, of course, the phone lines will be open where you can get to call in or send a text message or WhatsApp message to contribute. If you are going to be calling, the number is 0700 1021 1021. And if you want to send a text message or WhatsApp message, it's to 0907 224 5018. Almost skipped my mind right there. 0907 224 5018.
Yeah, definitely. Those are the numbers that you can call so you can get to contribute. You can get to tell us how you feel about basically many things happening in the country. It could be things about, happening in your society. Just basically talk to us this morning so we can find out how things are. If you would like to fill your post this morning, don't forget we're also on all social media handles. We're on X, FKA, Twitter. We're on TikTok. We are also on Instagram at iImpact 102.1 FM. That is HI Impact 102.1. So hey, go follow us up and go be part of our family. You can become an official citizen of our Impact Radio. Now let's go on a short break, and when we come back, we will be looking at the papers in full. Don't go nowhere. It is your urban lifestyle station, our Impact Radio 102.1 FM.
I know, and I love you too. This is why I've made it so that you can now have me everywhere you go. www.highimpactstudios.com. Press play. Links in our social media bio. Click at High Impact 1021 FM. Or you can just go the regular way. Turn on your radio and tune in to 102.1 FM.
We love you at High Impact Radio. Mwah!
See, there is no separating us now.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
12 minutes past 7 right on our Impact Radio 102.1 FM. In case you are just joining us, believe me, you are right on time because we are about to look at the papers that we have with us this morning. Don't forget, you can always be a part of the conversation if you join us up on 0700 1021 1021. That is the number you can call so you can let us feel your pulse this morning. But in case you want to reach us via text message or your WhatsApp route, it is also allowed. The number for you to do that at is 0907 224 5018. I take that one more time. 0907 224 5018. That's the number you use for your WhatsApp and your regular text message this morning. Remember, we are also streaming live on YouTube at impact 102.1 FM. So hey, go subscribe to our YouTube channel and you can get to see how everything is happening in the studio live right here in the studio with us. We will be starting with the Daily Trust this morning, and the Daily Trust is leading with a major story, and it's saying Lagdo Dam, high risk, states braces for floods. Lagdo Dam, high risk, states braces for floods. It has two riders to that story, three riders to that story in particular. NIMET predicts thunderstorms, moderate rains in Taraba, Borno, others. Government asks residents to relocate, set up IDP camps. That story you can find on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. This story is just reminding me of what happened in Florida a couple of days ago. You know, and yeah, over 3 million people were asked to relocate. They lost power. Over 3 million residents lost power. But the next day, we saw so many things happening. Over 656,000 homes got back power the next day because the government were proactive. They had over 50,000 linesmen waiting.
The next day,
actively waiting. So now, the next day, we had businesses opening the next day. And and most of those businesses were food businesses, and most of them took the opportunity to give free food to the linesmen who were working. Imagine you had 50,000 people waiting to work to restore power. So now for this kind of situation where we're seeing the government asking the people to relocate and they're setting up IDP camps, how long will they get before they go back to their homes?
good question. How long?
How long are they going to be there for? 1 week? Are they going to be there for 2 weeks? Or are they going to be there for the rest of their lives? Yeah, there are so many people in IDP camps that have been there for years
For a
now.
long time.
So it's a very pertinent question. After this happen, are they going back home, or that is going to be the start of the rest of their lives? So, we have a huge picture right here on the Daily Trust newspaper. I think this picture has to be coming from Palestine, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. This is a portrait of the Hezbollah leader. So these are images from Palestinian. This has to do with the Israel-Hezbollah crisis happening at the moment. Is this still a crisis or a full-blown war? Well, it depends on your own definition of both words. Underneath that huge image, severe malnutrition rises by 51% in the north. Severe malnutrition rises by 51% in the north. In case you want to find out what that story is all about, what part of the north are they talking about? Is it North Africa? Is it North in Nigeria? Is it North Korea? Anyways, go look at page 4 or page 6, I mean, of the Daily Trust this morning for you to find out what part of the north they are focusing on. Nigeria not on ballot for UN Human Rights Council pool presidency. Nigeria not on ballot for UN Human Rights Council pool. That's according to the presidency. It is on page 7. Fulani known for peace, not violence. That's according to the Emir of Zazzau. That story is on page 40. Yeah, that story is on page 40. According to the Emir of Zazzau, Fulani known for peace, not violence. Truck crushes people, one order to death in Ogun. Truck crushes couple.
It's sad.
Oh wow.
It's really sad.
Truck crushes couple, one other to death in Ogun. That story is on page 40. May God rest their soul. Really sad one. Underneath the Daily Trust nameplate this morning, PDP governors meet over party's crisis today. PDP governors meet over parties crisis today. In case you're interested in that one, you find it on page 13. Ipman hopes for lower price as talks with Dangote begin. Ipman hopes for lower price as talks with Dangote begin, on page 27 of the Daily Trust is where you can find that. And finally, on page 30 of the Daily Trust this morning, amidst 27 million housing deficits, many estates unoccupied in Abuja. Amid 27 million housing deficits, many estates unoccupied in Abuja. It is funny, yes. Do you know why I actually chuckled when I was reading that story? It's because this is as old as time itself. This story itself, it's not new. I resided in Abuja from 2016 up till about 2020 or 2021, thereabouts. And in those 5 years where I stayed in Abuja, I can count a whole lot of estates that were around me that I was certain that more than half of the houses were unoccupied. And how did I know that? I happened to be in that life of my world. I happened to be, I taught students, so I had opportunities of going to different estates, to see pupils and all of that. And I knew for a fact that different estates I went into, at least the ones I had the privilege of going into, they were not even close to half of the people living there to the amount of houses that were available in those estates.
But they just keep building and keep building.
And more keeps springing up every single day. More keeps springing up.
When they get it that it seems people are not able to afford
they
it
do
or
get
buy,
it.
but they still keep
They
building.
do get it. But let's not say why. Let's not go there.
Interesting.
They do understand why.
Interesting.
They do understand why. But if you know, you know. Why so many of all these things are happening. And I think the only way for us to get to put an end to some of these things is if probably, and I know so many people might be like, okay, should you be talking about this? But some persons have been of the opinion that probably if these houses have some sort of taxes on them, whereby if you're not going to have them occupied by someone, you have to pay certain amount of taxes.
To one way or the other.
Probably it will have people living in them, and the major reason why it doesn't have people living in them is the fact that they are way too expensive for people to actually afford. So there needs to be some sort of law when it comes to our housing in Nigeria in entirety.
Regulations.
There needs to be some sort of regulations. Houses are getting way too expensive. The poor ones do not even have enough to stay anymore. You go to communities where you expect that they are low-income communities, and you're not seeing low-income housings there. You go to places where you expect that low-income communities, and you're seeing probably, let's even look Lagos, for example, low-income communities, and you're seeing self-contained as much as 400,000 in a low-income community. Really? So, anyways, that's the much for the Daily Trust this morning.
And then we move up to the Guardian newspaper. Right here at the front page, it says uncertainty over minimum wage. Uncertainty over minimum wage execution as state government falter. Uncertainty over minimum wage execution as state government falter. This one is on page 6. We have other stories much more below. PDP crisis deepens. Mohammed takes charge, demands swift action. PDP crisis deepens. Mohammed takes charge, demands swift action. This particular story you can find also on page 6. We move to page 3 and we find vacation. Return home. Citizens confused about your policies. CSOs urge Tinubu. Vacation. Return home. Citizens confused about your policies. CSOs urge Tinubu. Like I said, this one is on page 3 if you want to find more details. We also find IMF slashes borrowing costs by 36%, lowers country's exposure by $1.2 billion yearly. IMF slashes borrowing cost by 36%, lowers country's exposure by $1.2 billion yearly. This one is also, not on page 6. This is page 5. This one is on page 5. And then another news on page 5: reverse petrol price pending court verdict. Reverse petrol price pending court verdict. Serap tells Tinubu. We move back to page 3 and we find importers decry 25 million naira clearance for 40 feet container. Importers decry 25 million naira clearance for 40 feet container. Really interesting. That news is on page 3. And yep, that is the much on the Guardian newspaper. Not so much happening right here.
Well, from the Guardian newspaper straight to the Punch newspaper this morning. Remember, you can always be a part of the conversation if you reach us on 0700 1021 1021. That's the number for you to call so we can feel your pulse this morning. But in case you say, hey, I want to do that via text message or WhatsApp, well, it is possible. The number for you to do that is 0907 224 5018. So moving straight to the Punch newspaper this morning. Import duty. FG may ground 60 private jets today. Import duty. FG may ground 60 private jets today. That story you can find on page 5 of the Punch newspaper this morning. It has one writer to that story. Top bank chairman, business moguls affected. NAMA gets list of affected planes. Top bank chairman, business moguls affected. NAMA gets list of affected planes. Underneath that one, FG Italy finalized talks on 34 new fighter jets. FG Italy finalized talks on 34 new fighter jets. You find that story on page 13. So much coming for the Nigerian Air Force. Hopefully this will be able to assist them in the fight against insecurity in the country. Underneath that one, cooking gas price jumps to 1,500 naira per kg. Hot. That is really hot. Really hot news. 1,500 naira for 1 kg. Man. This used to be the cheapest source of, cooking at one time. I remember in my NYSC days, gas it's so easy for you because at the end of
there was a time it was 400.
Yeah, if you have 1,000 naira, your 3 kg or your 4 kg, you're safe. Just with 1,000 naira, you're good.
Now that I'm saying it, my heart is in my chest.
Do you understand? With 1,000 naira, you're good. You know you're good. Like you were not looking for much. You were not looking for so much. You had 1,000 naira. You could get as much as 3 kg back then.
And you'll be fine.
And you will be fine because it lasts for a while.
Oh wow! It was actually 400 naira.
Yes, it was.
Can you imagine?
Even before then, it was below 400 naira. I bought it at the time below 400 naira.
Hey.
So and this is, if we're talking about this, it's not as if it's over 10 years ago. We're just talking about barely 5-6 years ago. It's crazy.
It's even up to 5. It's not up to 5.
Let's just give it on a positive note. It shouldn't be as if we're saying it's way too soon. Like, it is crazy. It is really, really crazy. 1,500 per kg.
I mean, if this is the price of gas, then how much more? I think kerosene gas is even way off.
Way more expensive. Yeah, I'm sure so many persons are back to charcoals, wooden sticks, and all of that. We're at a time where we're saying climate change. Okay. Let me move on. That's another story for another day.
don't open that. Don't do that.
NDLEA nabbed Thailand returnee with 3 billion naira worth of drugs. NDLEA nabbed Thailand returnee with 3 billion naira drugs. That story is on page 4 and page 5. Obaseki Okpebolo's transition panels discuss handover today. Obaseki Okpebolo's transition panel discuss handover today. You find that story on page 50 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Above the nameplate of the Punch, Dangote meets marketers Tuesday over new petrol price. That one is on page 8. Benin, Benin, Togo, all Nigeria $5.7 million electricity debt. That's according to the NERC. Benin, Togo, all Nigeria $5.7 million electricity debt. You find that story on page 58 of the Punch newspaper. PDP crisis, Damagum camp, anti-Wike governors may clash today. A clash? Okay. That one you can find on page 59 of the Punch newspaper. And finally on the Punch, God never planned sufferings for Nigerians. That is according to ex-President Olusegun Obasanjo. God never planned sufferings for Nigerians. That one you can find on page 8. And if you can imagine the kind of resources that we have in this part of the world, especially in Nigeria, then you will be sure that God never planned sufferings for Nigerians. That's the much for the Punch.
And here, lastly, for the Vanguard newspaper, we have first, petrol crisis. Federal government resolves NNPCL marketers dispute. Petrol crisis. Federal government resolves NNPCL marketers dispute. This story is on page 5. I'll take a few of the riders. As NNPCL refunds 15 billion naira to marketers after DSS's intervention. Another says many outlets still short. Experts call for instant resolution of pricing. Others. And just one more rider, consumers should shift to alternatives. Consumers should shift to alternatives. This is according to 11 PLC. Now, this particular story is on page 5. What alternatives? Interesting.
There's diesel, there's CNG gas, which so many persons have been talking about. For people to
that one
forward,
too.
So quite a number of alternatives.
Interesting. So, petrol crisis. This particular story is on page 5. Then at the very top, we find Edu government's rights Okpekbolo. APC on formation of transition team. This one is on page 12. Also on page 12, Oluwari urges Africans to break free from mental limitations. That also is on page 12. Then below, we find price of bread rising faster than inflation rate. According to bakers, these writer says it'll continue if. Now, if you want to get more details about all of this one is on page 21. Another writer says production cost rises 45% to 2.2 trillion naira, and revenue rises faster at 47.5% to 2.5 trillion naira. Now we move to page 6. We find DSS releases 2 #end bad governance protesters in Kaduna. 125 still in detention, and this particular one is according to Adeyoju. Besides it, VC's appointment sparks role in Uni Abuja. This one is on page 8. And on page 35, NAS considering raising VAT to 10% by 2025. This is according to document. And lastly, on the sports session, we find ahead of Eagles clash tomorrow, Libya in disarray as FA president resigns. Ahead of Eagles clash tomorrow, Libya in disarray as FA president resigns. And that is about it for the Vanguard newspaper.
Really, really crazy story there, especially when it comes to the Libyan story on the sports corner. I just want to shine light on a particular thing on that story. In as much as Libya is having its own crisis at the moment, the Nigerian team also faced a challenge just yesterday. When they got to Libya, they couldn't get to the main destination they had to go to. They needed to be rerouted to another airport where they were actually stranded. As of this morning, we can't confirm. I have not been able to confirm if they've moved to their hotel or moved to wherever they are meant to stay, as they are supposed to play a return leg with Libya. I think tomorrow or next tomorrow. I'm not sure now. So it's a huge dilemma happening in Libya at the moment, and I really hope the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been able to, solve the issue of being stranded. But I think it was an issue coming from the FA angle of the Libyan authority. So I hope it has been resolved, and I hope our boys are safe, and hopefully they go out there and do us proud and get back the 3 points so we can qualify for the AFCON Nations, for the African Cup of Nations. Yeah, that's the much for the Vanguard, yes?
Yeah.
Well, let's go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll have our in-house analyst with us so we can get to talk about some of the stories that you find on the front page this month. Do not forget, you can also be a part of the conversation if you reach us on 0700 1021 1021, or you can text us via your regular text message or WhatsApp on 0907 224 5018. Don't go nowhere. We will be right back.
I know, and I love you too. This is why I've made it so that you can now have me everywhere you go. www.highimpactstudios.com. Press play. Links in our social media bio. Click at High Impact 1021 FM. Or you can just go the regular way. Turn on your radio and tune in to 102.1 FM.
We love you at High Impact Radio. Mwah!
See, there is no separating us now.
Are you looking for an avenue to blast your brand? Why not let us be your detonator at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM with Got You Covered. For advert placement, sponsorship, partnership, call us on 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, 0902 745 3931, or send an email to info@highimpactstudio.com.
This is why we are unique. Our lifestyle is urban.
Our lifestyle is urban.
Oh my God! Bringing you updates and information on safety and wellness with Safety Echo. Join us every Thursday by 10:30 on High Impact 102.1 FM for a journey into knowledge on a secure and eco-conscious living. From workplace security to road safety and many more. Discover hacks to protecting yourself while preserving the environment. Tune into Safety Echo and be part of a movement towards a safer, healthier, and greener future. Join us every week and let's make a difference together. Safety Echo is powered by KKF Foundation.
Venue on the Sea. A perfect and top-notch location for your special social and corporate occasions. Here at High Impact Cruise, we handle your events with elegance while providing you with outstanding service. An amazing experience you will never forget. For more inquiries, call 0815-181-9580, 0818-824-5734, or visit www.highimpactcruise.com. High Impact Cruise, dream, discover, explore.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Impact Radio 102.1 FM, 24 minutes before 8 a.m. right here on your urban lifestyle station, where we make sure we give you all of the information you need 100%. I dare say 102%, because we're a bit extra like that. It is the newspaper review, and of course, in case you are just joining us, you've missed the first segment of the show where we get to talk about some of the stories on the front page of the papers. But you're right on time for the next segment of the show, where we get to talk to our in-house analyst and get to analyze some of the stories that we have with us today. Remember, you can always be a part of the conversation if you reach us on 0700 1021 1021, or if you text us on 0907 224 5018. We'll be speaking with Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid this morning. Good morning, Barrister.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
How was the weekend?
The weekend was superb. I hope yours was good too, sir.
Good.
Okay, I'm going to move straight into it. the president is on vacation at the moment, and we've heard different people coming out to say probably this is not the right time for the president to be on vacation. We've heard people coming out from the president's angle saying, hey, he has all the rights in the world to go on his vacation, to take all the rest he deserves. But for the people who are saying the president shouldn't be on vacation at the moment, they are coming from the perspective of saying with severe malnutrition of over 51% in the north, with people complaining of the fact that the price of bread is so high, cooking gas is at 1,500 kg now. So many complaints from different angles of the border. Do you buy or do you support the school of thought of the people that say right now is not the time for the leader of this great nation to be on vacation?
Yeah, I want to agree with them. That this is not the appropriate time for the president to go on vacation or even leave or anything. Because you can't have a fire on your roof and say, I'm saying I want to rest because I'm tired. I didn't sleep yesterday. You don't do that. You don't have your company going down. You don't have your business is going down. And you say, I need to go and rest when you have work to do to fix it. This is not the right time for the president to go on vacation because it is clear and everybody is aware that the situation of the country, in fact, the president acknowledges that there is hardship on the land, that things are not working, and there is a need for us to put all hands on deck. And at the time when we are putting all that hands on deck, the president who should lead is going on vacation to go and rest. You imagine what will happen to every other person. They want to relax and then leave it through. So for me, I want to agree with them that this is not the right time for the president to go on any form of vacation.
Okay. Since we've come to that point, and right now, on other issues that are still on the burning burners and will always be on the burners is the fuel crisis. And we've seen Ipman coming out to say they can't be buying from the NNPCL because the NNPCL is insincere with its pricing, saying they are collecting at a rate of about 900 from Dangote Refinery and selling to them at a higher rate. And we're seeing Dangote now coming out to say, okay, they're going to be in talks with Ipman between Tuesday and Wednesday. But for so many persons, they are saying probably this is not the step Nigerians should be focusing on, but rather on the step of how to get our 4 refineries working. Should that be our main focus, or should we keep battling on the issues of if Dangote will sell at a certain price or not sell at a certain price?
I think I also want to agree with them. Those who say that what should be concerned about having our own refineries working. Because Dangote Refinery is not Nigeria Refinery. It's Dangote Refinery. And we can't control him. If tomorrow he can say, I don't want to do the business again, I'm abandoning it, I'm leaving it. Nobody will query him and say why. So I think for us, Dangote should be an alternative for us. Because most those people in charge are interested in going abroad to go and import first. So they will not bother about having our refinery working. Are you aware that we were told last month or so when the price was increased that by October it will come down because the Dangote will be supplied in Naira. So the arrangement you have with Dangote will commence in October.
October 1st.
Before the October, they brought another thing in so that it distract you. You know, nobody is talking about that again. We are forgetting about that completely. So that is the system. They know how to play us and they will know how to fall for them. And so I think for me, the most important concern should be how to get our. But I won't lie to you. I doubt if those refineries will work. In fact, if they will work, they will work for a few days or a few months, and then they will go back again to where they belong. I doubt if those refineries will work because they are doing enough to make it work.
Well, what does that mean for the ordinary Nigerians? Does that mean there is no hope for cheaper fuel anytime soon?
Even those refineries are working. Don't hope for cheaper fuel these days. Nigerian government, they are not for cheap commodity. Nigerian government will tell you education is for the rich, those who went to school free of charge, and they will tell you that if you don't pay for education, you won't you don't get a free education for. And these people are intelligent people who went to school free of charge without paying, and they are very intelligent. They did well, and they are not telling us now that for you to have a good and quality education, you must be able to pay good money for it. So they would also tell you now, just as we are hearing now, that well, even if you are refining your domain, international market will still determine your price. So if you are expecting, even if your refinery is working, and you are expecting that anything will change in terms of cheap commodity. Cheap commodity don't relate with me. But when I say cheap now, anything that will go like 100 naira, 160 naira, 200 naira, don't expect it. In fact, if you see 500, but you better be clapping. If you see 700, even if your refinery is working, be clapping. So because these people are about getting money from you anyhow, they don't care about. They don't know that the essence of people in government is to ensure that the welfare of the people are taken care of and they are not put into hardship. They are about just generating money, and then because we in Nigeria too, we celebrate things that are not supposed to be celebrated. By the time they leave now, by the time they want to read up their achievement, they will say the IGR was improved. I was increased from so. I think that is an achievement for me. That will not look at what are this idea that was improved. How did they improve it? Where are the money going to? If you say you have improved IGR, are people seeing it in their daily life? If the lifestyle of living of people does not change, no matter how IGR you improve, it amounts to nothing. Same of the same. So as long as you are doing what is not improving the life of the people, you are not doing it. So for me, I rather don't expect cheap petrol commodity or even expect that our refinery will work and be at peace and put my mind on a high hope and then I am thrown down. I'll be surprised. I'm very, very surprised if I was not if we have a price reduction in our commodities.
Well, moving from fuel price to another issue which has always been on the front burners too, but this time I'm thinking it's something which the government can be in control of, and this has to do with housing. We know housing deficit is so much. I remember the last time World Bank was talking about housing deficit being in its millions, and the then Minister of Power under the Buhari administration, I said Minister of Power and Housing under the Buhari's administration, Fashola, talking about who was actually counting to say that okay, we have over 27 million housing deficit and all of that. But now we are talking about unoccupied houses in cities like Abuja. We're talking about how expensive housing is in cities like Lagos. What exactly will the government do to make sure that we have things that has to do with low-income housing? Because in this part of the world, there's really nothing like low-income housing.
Uche, that is to tell you that the fact that you have unoccupied houses in Abuja is to tell you that, look, we don't have deficiency in terms of our housing. The deficiency we have is inequality. Deficiency, inequality in the sense that only few people have acquired most of these property to themselves. Most people corner these things to themselves, and because of their greed, and then they now build the houses, and then nobody is staying there. So if you say you are building, you want to. Do we have any low-cost housing in Nigeria? Because if you say low-cost housing, it's very relative. Low-cost housing that you'll be paying as high as 500,000 naira. A low-cost housing that you want to buy, they will tell you to come and pay 20 million. Is that a low-cost housing for a poor man? A low-cost housing that you want to sell, and the government want to sell, I will tell you it's 30 million or so, and you must pay 30% upfront. How do you pay it? So the government is not even working towards ensuring that the common man or common masses are able to get affordable housing. If that is in place, this attitude of people just building. You see, some of those houses you saw in Abuja or in anywhere, even in Lagos and other places that are not occupied, because some of the majority of them are because probably they are built from process of corruption. So keep the money in order to pretend that the money is a genuine money. They infect it somewhere and put it down. Most of those are estates you see people building are being sponsored by some people who are in government or who are in position of authority who are able to corner our money. So for me, the government is not sincere in its programs. If they have a deliberate program, intentional program to people can do of less memory. The late it was in government for how many years? Over 3 years. You see, today in Lagos State, there is nowhere you go, you not hear Jakande Estate or local housing estate. That is, and you see people saying their house now. So, and the houses are strong, standing solid. For me, it is about deliberate intention. Yeah, yes, I'm aware in Lagos State too, they do that. But is it affordable? Can poor man, can people, masses who don't have millions be able to afford it? So as long as that is the position whereby you build houses that it will cost fortune or millions to buy, only people who are rich will be getting it, and then they will get it in addition to what they have before and keep it somewhere again and start giving it out to those who don't have at a higher rate. So as long as the government is not deliberate, it is here to ensure that everybody is have a home. Sorry, then we can't what's it called? Get it right. There will still be issue of complaint of no people not be able to have access. When in an estate, a 2-bedroom flat go as high as 5 million naira per annum. 2-bedroom, just 2-bedroom flat. Can you imagine? So in that situation, you expect people to see more houses that are not occupied.
Well, I want to move to one final part before we let you go this morning, and it has to do with the opposition party. I'm talking about the PDP and the Labour Party, which has been in crisis over since even the beginning, before the starting of the 2023 elections till date. The crisis still continues. Is this the worst form of opposition you've seen since our democracy?
Is it what?
I wanted to know, is this the worst form of opposition against the government that you've seen since the advent of our democracy?
Yeah, you can't go see opposition in this circumstance because when the area of expertise, he knows how to corner and ensure that other parties are not enjoying or any peace in their home. So you see, I have been saying it. When there is no party in Nigeria, what we have is people who are interested in making money and getting to wherever they want to get to. And that's why you see people who wake up this morning to be as a PDP man, tomorrow will become an APC man, or somebody will wake up as a Labour Party man, and then in the evening he becomes an APC man. So because it's not driven by ideology, it's driven by interest.
Are you there, sir? Hello?
I think we lost him.
Okay, we lost that one due to network issues, but let's move on.
Can you imagine? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Can you imagine those who are supposed to be in the lead in the party? What do you call this? When somebody wants to file a case to appeal against a case that is affecting your party, and the chairman is saying, no, don't appeal it, leave it like that. What does that suggest? When somebody gave out a statement saying we are in support of the election going on in the particular time, can you imagine what is happening? So as long as you have people who will be ready to be used to get what they want to get, you can't have opposition. And like I've been saying it, if Nigerians truly want opposition, it's not political party that should be our major opposition. It is Nigerians themselves that should be the opposition. They should be the one to hold government to account. Everybody, it's not only political parties that have the mandate to hold government to account or to serve as or preside government. It's our responsibility under the law. Every Nigerian should ask questions from the government if they want to. The political parties are only interested in their own interest, and the politicians who are in political party are interested in their own interest. And once the interests align with their interests, they don't care about your own. So if truly you want freedom for yourself, if truly you want good governance for yourself, you have to also raise your voice and talk about it.
Well, thank you so very much, sir. That's a very beautiful way for us to leave it this morning. But before you go, give us your final thoughts this morning, sir.
What did you say?
I said that's a very beautiful way for us to leave it. But before you go, give us your final thoughts this morning.
Yes, I just urge Nigerians to wake up to their responsibilities, ask questions from government, don't allow their personal interest to override national interest. As long as we are not concerned about governance in Nigeria, I will leave it to people who call a rogue and the doubt or whatever we call them, who will continue to see or get this kind of result we are getting. So it is responsibility. Governance is the responsibility of everybody, and not the responsibility of those only in government or those who call politicians. Every Nigerian that is responsible must be interested in what goes around his country or in his state or country or state or whatever or community, if truly is interested in the progress of his country or state.
Thank you very much, Barrister Abdulhamid. We thank you for joining us this morning, and hopefully when we call on you again, you will be here to share your beautiful insights with us, sir.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Have yourself a beautiful Monday, sir.
Thank you.
It is everyone's duty to make sure that the government is held accountable for everything that they do. It is your duty as a plumber. It is your duty as a bricklayer. It is your duty as a teacher. It is your duty as an on-air personality. It is your duty as a banker. It is your duty as long as you are a Nigerian being governed by the Nigerian government. It is your duty to hold them by their words, hold them by their actions, and let them know these are the things we want, and this is how we want things to be done. You have issues about how the government is doing things. You have the right to complain. Like Barrister said, you don't have to keep it for those ones who their interests seem to be just for themselves to determine what you want, because at the end of the day, their own interest will come first. So as Nigerians that are going through the things that we are going through, we should understand that our interest should come first. And how do we make sure our interests come first? Is by voicing out the things that we do not like. We are not in control at the end of the day, but we have the power to be in control, because we heard majority takes the vote. Yes, we heard that there's power in the majority, there's power in numbers, and there's no way, it is so much impossible for the politicians or for the leaders to be more than the people.
You know, it brings to mind this analogy whereby you take the broom where it's tied. If you remove just one, it's able to break, but how
once
everything's
it's together,
it
becomes indestructible. It becomes like how strong you can imagine. And the only way we can achieve that is by having a united Nigeria. You can achieve this purpose of the purpose of taking Nigeria to where it's meant to be. And when I mean taking Nigeria to where it's meant to be, is by having leaders do the right thing. And how do you have leaders doing the right thing? By the citizens making sure they do the right things. And without the citizens being united, it is impossible. You can't be bickering every day about irrelevant things. We can't be bickering every single day on social media about things that do not matter. Things like tribalism, things like unnecessary things on social media. I don't want to call names of things. You get what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
But most especially tribalism. That is one thing that is keeping us at the point where we are. We are a united Nigeria, and until we accept that we are one and start acting like we are one, nothing good will happen. Because most of these people who are trying to put us down, that's most of the bad leaders, because it's not all of them that are bad, but many of them that are bad, that are trying to put us down, are using the same tactics they've been using for
a very long time
now.
It just works.
Do you understand?
And
it only works because the people have failed to understand that this is a ploy against them. Until the people understand that, okay, we've seen this playbook over and over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, stop this playbook. Do you get me? Until they get to that point, then they will understand how their power works. Because man, it's not easy. You keep getting the same thing. We could play old songs. Let's start from the time of Fela to the Two-Face Idibia. You could hear the same things they are complaining about.
And we are still playing it.
You could hear the same things they are complaining about. And those same things happen to be the same campaign promises we get every single time. And every single time, those promises are not redeemed. And every single time, they tell us the same thing. And we act like we've not heard it before. Until we are united as a people to say, okay, the government, this is what we want. This is how we want what we want. They won't take us serious. So we need to take ourselves serious first. We need to know governance is real business. It determines everything about your life. It determines every single thing about your life. I do not want to know what you're coming from. I do not want to know which angle you're thinking from. Governance determines every single thing in your life. And so if you're not interested in governance, what else should you be interested in? I honestly do not know. if you're not interested in how things are being done in your country, if you're not interested in how governance is being done in your community, what else should you be interested in? That is your life. That is everything that determines your life. And every single day, the government determines our life. There's a proposal for 10% increment of VAT. It has passed, it has passed. There's a proposal for the FRSC to, that has passed second reading for them to own guns, to carry guns, I mean. Do many people know about this? Do Nigerians know about it?
Or do they care?
Do they care about it?
Until it's now happening.
Probably
Now, like, how
day,
come when?
Probably one day you're on the road and an FRSC man is with a gun and you'll be like, no. But it's on the, it's there.
It's legal now.
It's not yet legal.
Right. I mean,
it's as past the second reading. You have to be interested. You have to find out about things happening in your country so that you won't be caught by surprise. You won't be caught unaware of things going on. You can't say you're not interested in governance and still, blame the government at the end of the day. You have no moral standing to blame the government. No moral standing at all. When it was time for you to vote, you say, I know the vote, or I'm not interested, or it's the end of blah, blah, blah. And later you come out to say the government is bad. It is your fault. You have no moral standing to say the government is bad. You went out to vote, someone counted 5,000 naira and gave it to you, or 10,000 naira and gave it to you, and you say, I've collected my own share of the national cake, and you think you have the moral right to complain that the government is bad? No, you have no moral right to complain that the government is bad. You have, as a citizen, need to play your part legally and rightfully before you can have the moral standing to say the government is not doing the right thing or is doing the right thing. That's how we call it an end to today's edition of the newspaper review right here on iMpact Radio 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station. We will be back tomorrow, same time. So keep it a date with us as we will be here to give another exciting edition of the newspaper review. My name is Uche Okorie. Have yourself a beautiful Monday ahead.
And of course, Toluwashe Akumi is still here with you, and the Morning Impact Show continues. Stay tuned with us.
This is why we are unique. Our lifestyle is urban.
Our lifestyle is urban.
Oh my God!
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
It's time to gather as one. But are my people ready?
Me like it. Stop it. Me like it. Stop it. Me like it. Me like it. Me like it.
Who can stop the wind or control its breeze? A storm came and only the X-Men could call it peace. The rigid stood Lagbara, yet many fell asunder. The mind became portable and moved to Zazu, and mind danced Kerewa by Zulezu. Too many worries, but waiting man fit do. You ask for food to chop, they call you beggy. Yet if government no pay alawi, you must still serve your country. Now so office no pay salary, they call Kunle lawyer employee. If they pay me past chest pain, boost my head past the headache. I need a doctor to strike. My bank account is epileptic. Waiting go pay me pass now if doctors don't go on strike.
Like
so insecurity.
Like
all them bad government.
Like
plenty corruption.
Like
poverty unko.
Like
false scarcity unko.
Like it.
1, 2, buckle your shoes. 3, 4, no dead Jones. At a law, at a day, there's victory involved. It's time. Too much sleep has made sleeping beauty a fantasy. You binge watch and now you're filled with ecstasy. Wake up, my dear. No time to waste time. Aren't you tired of delayed flights? It's time to tell when you land. You're waiting to see the light when you're the supply and demand. It's time to fire. Have you ever seen an Afonja lose his strength? It's time to wake up. Nigeria's situation has passed a fairy tale. No more sleeping beauties. It's time to stand like people who get stamina. To build an ark for every tribe, every tongue, every Nigerian. It's time to stand, Gidigba, and that time is
now. Me like it. Stop it. Me like it. Give it up for your true urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM.